In this video, I want to go over how to know if you're in medicine for the right reasons. Are you pre-med just because you think it sounds cool, or do you truly want to be a doctor? Okay, so I have 5 things written down to help you guide in your decision making of whether or not you should be pre-med and if you actually want to be a doctor. And this can help you as, let's say maybe you already declared yourself a pre-med, but you're going through the process. It doesn't mean there's not opportunity to change your mind, or there's not opportunity to strengthen that decision and know you're truly going into the best career for you. So the first thing I have written down here is, do you have any exposure to the field? A lot of students and pre-meds in particular will go through the entire process, 3-4 years of taking requirements, take the MCAT, and have yet almost no shadowing, so they don't really understand what it's like to be a doctor. That's one of the reasons shadowing is so important for the medical school application, is so you can show admissions committees that you actually know what the day-to-day life of a physician is, at least to the best of your ability, by shadowing a physician. And honestly, I recommend shadowing a couple of different physicians in a couple of different specialties, so you have a better view of what the different areas of medicine could be like, because every area might be different. It's different being a dermatologist practicing in a private practice than it is being a hospitalist being in the hospital every single day. So that's the first thing that you need to think about and try to get experience in before truly making the final decision on whether or not medical school and being a doctor is for you. So number 2, is the reason you think you want to be a doctor coming from external influences? And the most common one I see for this is coming from parents, whether the parents are doctors themselves or the parents just always wanted their kid to be a doctor. If you're not doing this for you, I promise you it is not the right field for you. You need to really want to wake up every single day and be a physician, go in to help patients and be in the nitty-gritty of medicine. Otherwise, it's going to burn you out a lot faster. And even people who really love the career, they end up burning out because of things we'll talk about in other videos. But you need to know that you're willing to put in the work and really go through the long process of becoming a physician, and then the grueling work that it takes when you are a physician. There are parts that are extremely enjoyable, but there's also a lot of parts that can be very difficult, challenging, and not the things that you always want to be doing. And so if external influences are the reason you're going into this field, I highly recommend reconsidering. Now, this is something that's difficult to figure out at times. For example, I know someone very close to me. He started off pre-med and his parents were doctors, and then he wasn't so sure if he wanted to be pre-med and thought maybe he was only doing it because his parents were physicians. Then when he stepped away from it, he realized that no, he actually did want to be a doctor and had to come to that realization for himself, went back, did a post-bac, and is now accepted to medical school. So it's not like it has to be a one pivotal moment where you make the decision or you don't make the decision. This is a very fluid process, deciding whether or not you want to be a doctor. It's a big decision, and so you should just try to identify why you're making that decision. Is it coming from internal motivation, or is it only due to external factors like parents, family members, societal expectations? So this is something that's important when making that decision. Number 3, are you just in it to make money? And I think that at this point, this is more dispelled than it used to be, that you don't want to just go into medicine for the money, because there's plenty of other ways that you can avoid large amounts of student debt and make good money. However, that's not to say that being a doctor is not a very stable job. It's a high paying job, and so there are definitely people to this day that still go in it more so for the money than they should be. So if that's you, I promise it is not the best decision. Please don't go into medicine for the money. One, it's just not the best. If you're just trying to make money, go into investment banking or something like that. And 2, you don't want to be treating patients and being with people in their most vulnerable states in life because you're there just to make a quick buck. That's not the best idea in my opinion, but you do you. At the end of the day, I'm just giving you some of my thoughts. Okay, and the 4th thing I have written down to help guide your decision on whether or not pre-med is for you and whether or not you should become a doctor is, do you enjoy constant learning and growing? And the field of medicine, one of the reasons I love it so much is because it constantly challenges you. You constantly have to keep up with the latest literature, learning new things. And I think that if you don't have a growth mindset and you're not willing to continuously learn and study for the rest of your life, then this is not the field for you, because it never ends. First is the MCAT, then is USMLE step 1, then step 2, then step 3. Then you're going to take your boards, then the fellowship boards potentially, then you're going to be doing relicensing. This is not only a field where you're constantly going to be taking tests and having to study, but also a field where even when you're not studying for a test, you want to keep up with the latest literature so you can provide the best possible care for your patients. And so if you're not dedicated and enjoy learning, then it's probably not the best field for you. And usually this is why a lot of students who just hate grinding as pre-med students get weeded out. However, sometimes those students just don't know how to properly study and do well in their classes, and they could have made great doctors, but they quit too early. So if that is something that you feel like you're struggling with and want to avoid, click the link below and you'll have access to a free course that I made that helps you through your studying and will get you on the right path so that you can actually do well in your classes and hopefully not drop being pre-med just for this reason. And number 5, when making your decision on whether or not you want to be a doctor, and this ties a little bit into why shadowing is so important, is are you willing to be a part of the other aspects of medicine that is not just seeing patients? It would be ideal if 80%, 90% of your time is just speaking with patients, connecting with them, doing procedures, doing surgeries if you're a surgeon. But the reality is that is not medicine as it currently stands. There's a lot of other factors that go into play, a lot of administrative work, a lot of note-taking and electronic health records, a lot of red tape that you do have to deal with as a physician. And so it's important to know that going in, and you have to be okay with that being a part of your job. Now, I think in some specialties, this is worse than others. And as you go through medicine, you could figure out and kind of form your own path, but there's definitely many factors as I'm going through my own training that I'm seeing that go into being a physician that's beyond the scope of just clinical practice, and you need to know that and be okay with that going into this field. So those are my 5 takeaways for how to help guide your decision making if you want to be a pre-med student, if you want to ultimately become a doctor, and if this is a career path that you should pursue. If you're enjoying this content, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Even if you don't like, just subscribe. We're really trying to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. We're going to be putting out a ton of helpful MCAT content, pre-med content, and general advice on this channel. So if that's something you're interested in, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.